Hi, it's Sue. Thanks for joining me for today's Bible reading for April 20th. And it is chapter 21 and 22 from First Kings, and it's the last chapter of this book. So I will try to remember to put the link in the description of the playlist for this book. Whenever I finish, I like to go back and listen to the whole book all together. And that is the reason why I separate them out into books in the playlist on my channel. So I'll try to link that if anyone's interested in that. All right, chapter 21, verse 1. After these things, Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, which was in Jezreel, next to the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, "Give me your vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, excuse me, because it is near my house, and I will give you for it a better vineyard than it. Or, if it seems good to you, I will give you its worth in money." Naboth said to Ahab, "May Yahweh forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to you." Ahab came into his house sullen and angry because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he said, "I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers." He laid himself down on his bed and turned his face and would not eat bread. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said to him, "Why is your spirit so sad that you can eat no bread?" He said to her, "Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite and said to him, 'Give me your vineyard for money, or else, if it pleases you, I will give you another vineyard for it.' He answered, 'I will not give you my vineyard.' Jezebel his wife said to him, 'Do you now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let your heart be merry. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth of Jezreelite.'" So you see here in this depiction of Jezebel as, well, you have Ahab who's just has no backbone. And Jezebel obviously is a forceful woman. And so you can tell she's frustrated. She's like, "Are you the leader or not?" And she's wicked to boot. She's thinking, just take it from him. You're the king, right? So Ahab, he seems to waver, and he's afraid of the people. He's just a terrible leader, and obviously they have no respect for him. So she said, "I'll get it for you. I'll get the stupid vineyard." She doesn't respect or like him. Even she doesn't like him because of his weakness. So she said, "I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite." So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, sealed them with the seal, and sent the letters to the elders, to the nobles who were in the city, who lived with Naboth. She wrote in the letters, saying, "Proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people." Excuse me. "Set 2 men, base fellows, before him, and let them testify against him, saying, 'You curse God and the king.' Then carry him out and stone him to death." The men of his city, even the elders and nobles who lived in the city, did as Jezebel had instructed them in the letters which she had written and sent to them. They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. The 2 men, the base fellows, came in and sat before him. The base fellows testified against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, because I think they had to have 2 witnesses. So they had 2 liars in here. Set them in the presence of the people, saying, "Naboth cursed God and the king." Then they carried him out of the city and stoned him to death with stones. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, "Naboth has been stoned and is dead." When Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned and was dead, Jezebel said to Ahab, "Arise, take possession of your vineyard of Naboth of the Jezreelite, which refused to give you for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead." When Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. So now you have this ill-gotten, cursed vineyard, right? I mean, who wants that? Ill-gotten gain, gained through corruption and collusion, and I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot rod, right? Who wants that? But they were clueless. So he went down to his vineyard, it says. Yahweh's word came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, "Arise, go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, who dwells in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, where he has gone down to take possession of it. You shall speak to him, saying, 'Yahweh says, have you killed and also taken possession?' You shall speak to him, saying, 'Yahweh says, in the place where dogs licked the blood of Naboth, dogs will lick your blood, even yours.'" Ahab said to Elijah, "Have you found me, my enemy?" He answered, "I have found you, because you have sold yourself to do that which is evil in Yahweh's sight." Behold, I will bring evil on you and utterly sweep you away, and will cut off from Ahab everyone who urinates against a wall, and him who is shut up, and also who is left at large in Israel. I will make your house like that of the house of Jeroboam, son of Nebat. Remember the other day? It's like what Jeroboam did, the sin he committed, just keeps coming back into the conversation. That's how bad it was. So I will make you like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah, for the provocation with which you have provoked me to anger and have made Israel to sin. Yahweh also spoke by the rampart of Jezreel. The dogs will eat he who dies of Ahab in the city, and the birds of the sky will eat he who dies in the field. But there was no one like Ahab who sold himself to do that which was evil in Yahweh's sight, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. He did very abominably in following idols, according to all that the Amorites did, whom Yahweh cast out before the children of Israel. When Ahab heard these words, he tore his clothes and put sackcloth on his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and wept softly. Yahweh's word came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, See how Ahab humbles himself before me? Because he humbles himself before me, I will not bring evil in his days, but I will bring the evil on his house in his son's day. Last chapter. They continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel. In the 3rd year, Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. The king of Israel said to his servants, You know that Ramoth-Gilead is ours, and we do nothing, and don't take it out of the hand of the king of Syria. He said to Jehoshaphat, Will you go with me to battle at Ramoth-Gilead? Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses your horses. Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, Please inquire first for Yahweh's word. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said to them, Should I go against Ramoth-Gilead to battle, or should I refrain? They said, Go up, for the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king. But Jehoshaphat said, Isn't there here a prophet of Yahweh, that we may inquire of him? See, Jehoshaphat was smart. Instead of saying directly to the king, No, that's stupid, I'm not going to fight that battle with you, and making him his enemy, he said, Let's let God decide. Let's see what God says. So he said, so the king called the prophets, but they weren't God's prophets. So Jehoshaphat said, Isn't there one of Yahweh here somewhere? The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man by whom we may inquire of Yahweh, Micah the son of Imlah, but I hate him. He does not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. Jehoshaphat said, Don't let the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, Quickly, get Micaiah, the son of Imlah. Now the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, were sitting each on his throne, arrayed in their robes, in an open place at the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets were prophesying before them. Zedekiah, the son of Chenaanah, made himself horns of iron and said, Yahweh says, With these you will push the Syrians until they are consumed. All the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth-Gilead and prosper, for Yahweh will deliver it into the hand of the king. The messenger who went to call Micah spoke to him, saying, See now, the prophets declare good to the king with one mouth. Please let your word be like the word of one of them, and speak good. So, you better just align yourself with what they're all saying. Just say what they say. And Micah said, As Yahweh lives, what Yahweh says to me, that I will speak. When he came to the king said to him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth-Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? He answered him, Go up and prosper, and Yahweh will deliver it into the hand of the king. So I picture him saying this mockingly. Yeah, go ahead. And then the king said to him, How many times do I have to adjure you that you speak to me nothing but truth in Yahweh's name? He said, I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains like sheep that have no shepherd. Yahweh said, They have no master. Let them each return to his house in peace. The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, Didn't I tell you that he would not prophesy good concerning me, but evil? Micaiah said, Therefore hear Yahweh's word. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the army of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. Yahweh said, Who will entice Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth-Gilead? One said one thing, and another said another. A spirit came out and stood before Yahweh and said, I will entice him. Yahweh said to him, How? He said, I will go out and will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. He said, You will entice him and also prevail. Go out and do so. Now therefore, behold, Yahweh has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all your prophets, and Yahweh has spoken evil concerning you. Then Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah came near and struck Micah on the cheek and said, Which way did Yahweh's spirit go from me to speak to you? Micah said, Behold, you will see on that day when you go out into an inner room to hide yourself. So you can imagine this was a very tense exchange. When Micah replied back, he said, Yeah, you'll see. Because he can see, God's given him a vision of what's going to happen. So he said, Yeah, you'll find out when, how did he say that? He said, You'll see on that day when you go into the inner room to hide yourself. The king of Israel said, Take Micaiah and carry him back to Amnon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son. Say, Thus says the king, Put this fellow in the prison and feed him on bread and affliction and with water of affliction until I come in peace. Micaiah said, If you return at all in peace, Yahweh has not spoken by me. He said, Listen, all you people. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and go into battle, but you put on your robes. The king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. Now the king of Syria had commanded the 32 captains of his chariots, saying, Don't fight with small nor great, except only with the king of Israel. When the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they said, Surely it is the king of Israel, and they turned aside to fight against him. Jehoshaphat cried out. When the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, they turned back from pursuing him. A certain man drew his bow at random and struck the king of Israel between the joints of his armor. Therefore he said to the driver of the chariot, Turn your hand and carry me out of the battle, for I am severely wounded. The battle increased that day. The king was propped up in his chariot, facing the Syrians, and died at evening. The blood ran out of the wound into the bottom of the chariot. A cry went out throughout the army about the going down of the sun, saying, Every man to his city and every man to his country. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. They washed the chariot by the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up the blood where the prostitutes washed themselves, according to Yahweh's word which he spoke. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab and all that he did, and the ivory house with which he built, and all the cities that he built, aren't they written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah the son reigned in his place. Jehoshaphat the son of Asa began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi, and walked in all the ways of Asa his father. He didn't turn aside from it, doing that which was right in Yahweh's eyes. However, the high places were not taken down. The people still sacrificed and burned incense on the high places. Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and his might that he showed and how he fought, aren't they written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah? The remnant of the Sodomites that remained in the days of his father Asa, he put away out of the land. There was no king in Edom, a deputy ruled. Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, but they didn't go, for the ships wrecked at Ezion-Geber. Then Ahaziah the son of Ahab said to Jehoshaphat, Let my servants go with your servants in the ships. But Jehoshaphat would not. Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in his father David's city. Jehoram his son reigned in his place. Ahaziah the son of Ahab began to reign over Israel in Samaria in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah. And he reigned 2 years over Israel. He did that which was evil in Yahweh's sight, and walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. There's Jeroboam again. In which he made Israel to sin. He served Baal and worshipped him, and provoked Yahweh the God of Israel to anger in all the ways that his father had done so. And that is the end of the book, the end of today's reading. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to check the description for any links that you might be interested in. Till next time, bye-bye.